Rick Dollar here for the Rick Dollar Show. And if you can't get us on our global and national affiliates, please go to iHeartRadio and hit the old iHeartRadio button and just put in my name, Rick Dollar. It's that simple. My guest today is Miss Brit Taylor. Brit, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
And we are just rolling right along here in Savannah, Georgia, just doing what we got to do. Obviously, I did not know it was grass mowing season. And
I can't believe people are already mowing their
I
grass.
know, but it happens like that down here. It's going to be 75 today, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind
Wish
of
it was out here.
enough about my grass, but we want to talk about this other grass thing that we want to talk about is Kentucky Bluegrass, your new record.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this record.
And you should be. You had your album release last night at the Station Inn in Nashville, Tennessee, of course, home to many album release parties. I can
Yeah.
only imagine over the years. But um, I read something in your bio, and being having relatives from Kentucky, it kind of catches my eye. You were born in Hindman, Kentucky, correct?
I grew up in Hindman. There's no hospital in Hindman, so I was born in Pikeville.
Well, there you go. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Um, now, you describe yourself, or whoever wrote your bio describes you as what you see is what you get kind of gal. So, you want to
Yeah,
explain yourself on that one?
that'd be true. What you see is what you get. I mean, I really just don't try to be anybody else. I just try to do the things that make me happy. I live on a little farm with goats and donkeys and dogs, and everybody's like, I don't know how you tour and do that. I'm like, well, you make it work for the things you love. And
Depend on your neighbors.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just live out my songs, and I'm a country singer because I'm a country girl, and yeah, what you see is what you get.
I got you. Well, what made you do a bluegrass record?
Man, I grew up listening to bluegrass with my papa. And he kind of got me started on country music because of Patty Loveless and Ricky Skaggs. There was a lot of crossover back then between with bluegrass musicians coming to country or country going to bluegrass.
Oh yeah.
The lines were blurrier back then between the two, and now they're just so drastic of a difference between commercial country music and what bluegrass is. But I've always loved it. I grew up around people picking all the time in Prestonsburg, Kentucky at the Mountain Arts Center. And I just love acoustic instruments. And I always knew I wanted to do one. And my husband and I we were driving down the road. We were going somewhere on tour. And the idea just popped in my head that I should make a record called Kentucky Bluegrass and redo some of the songs from Kentucky Blue. And so popped into my head and out my mouth. And my husband was like, no, but yes, we should do that, but we should call it Kentucky Bluegrass. And I was like, that's genius.
That's
So
good. You need to keep that guy around, man.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now this record is produced by David Ferguson and Sturgill Simpson. Now these are Grammy Award winners, right?
They actually produced the original Kentucky Blue.
Okay.
So my husband actually produced the Kentucky Bluegrass versions. I know it was so
Oh
confusing.
wow.
Yeah, but yeah, working with David and Sturgill on Kentucky Blue was insane. They're so talented, and I mean, they're just living legends. I feel like I've kind of got my stamp in the history of country music now, and the good side of history with Sturgill and Ferg on that, and then just getting to reimagine some of those songs with Adam Chaffins, my husband, was
Mhm.
just it's been so much fun.
Wow. See, now that's like a whole family thing you got doing here, man. This is awesome. You're almost set up for success if you think about
I'm trying.
it. Well, let's talk about this first tune. That one that caught my ear was Saint Anthony. Now, can you give me a little backstory on that one?
Yes. So that song is like one of those that just kind of fell out of the sky. I'd never heard of St. Anthony or asking St. Anthony anything. But I was actually searching through a closet for a belt because I wanted to give my friend a pair of pants, and I was like, man, these come with a really cute belt, and I know it's in here somewhere. And the closet's a mess, everything's a mess. And she said, well, honey, you just need to ask St. Anthony to find the belt. He'll find it. And she was dead serious. And I was like, what? Who is St. Anthony? And she said, he's a saint of a lot. He finds things. And I was like, okay, St. Anthony, where is my belt? And I swear it just like kind of fell out of some
Wow.
clothes. It just like appeared, and I looked at her and I was like,
That's scary.
what? Are you magic? Like, and
We
so
need to ask St. Anthony for like a bag of money or something.
I know.
I've been
I
looking
like
for one
where
for
I need
years.
1,000,000 listeners. My husband already poked a hole in that though. He said he's saying to the lost and found, you have to have it and lose it and find it again. I was like, daggone it.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a cool tune. I really like it. It's like I said, it's the one that got my ear first, and I thought, man, that's a good catchy little tune there. So
Thank you.
now, what about If You Don't Want to Love Me, which sounds like a Patty Loveless song?
Oh, I love this. You just made my day. Patty is my favorite, all-time favorite artist.
Yeah.
If You Don't Want to Love Me, I wrote that on my front porch with my husband and Adam Landry. So one Brit and two Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And it came together really fast, and we cut it on the Kentucky Blue record with Sturgill and Ferg, and it just seemed like a fun one to redo. It actually wasn't one on the top of my mind because I had a hard time hearing that one bluegrass. But my husband was like, trust me, trust me. And even like the day of, I was like, this isn't going to make the record. And then we did it, and I was like, this is my favorite song on the record.
Wow.
So I'm glad that he followed his gut on that one because they just made it so funky. Like, I didn't know that you could make bluegrass music that funky.
Yes, you can. Believe me. There's a lot of bluegrass out there. I get a lot of pieces of work, in my email, my inbox, at the mailbox. I mean, I get it everywhere. And sometimes you're thinking, that's not really bluegrass, but nowadays you can't really do that with this type of music because it's changing and morphing into whatever it's going to be. And nothing we can do about that. So,
Yeah.
but being a Kentucky gal, and I've talked with a number of different Kentucky artists. Josh Merritt is a guy that I've been following a little bit, who just recently put out a record. But there's a lot of great music in Kentucky, and people are not aware of that as much as they should be. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, I started out listening to Sturgill Simpson and on all these guys, and then Tyler Childers hit me right upside the head about I don't know 5, 6, 7 years ago, and
Oh, yeah.
I was amazed. I was like, man, I got to investigate this a little bit more. But
It really is crazy. There's something in
it
the water.
is.
And all my favorite artists are from there. I mean, Ricky Skaggs, Patty Loveless, Loretta Lynn, um, the Judds, Sturgill, Tyler. Like I mean, the music that I grew up on, Dwight Yoakam, they're all from like not just Kentucky, but a certain stretch of highway in Kentucky. That's not like very long. I forget how long it is, but it's not a very long highway in Kentucky called the US 23. It's the Country Music Highway, and all of us are from that very short stretch of highway, including my husband. And it's just nuts, the talent that comes out of there. And I tell everybody, for as many big names as Chris Stapleton, big songwriters like Cordell, for all of those, there's just as many just sitting on their front porch, fine with you never knowing who they are, that they just want to pick and sit on their front porch, and they're just as talented.
This big, huge, thick book in the closet of stuff that's probably a hit song in there somewhere that they just don't have the ability or the want to push it out there to somebody,
Yeah.
So how long have you been writing songs?
I wrote my first song when I was 13. I'll never forget it because I never considered myself to be a writer. I was not good at school, hated school, and I just didn't consider myself like the kind of person that would ever write anything because
Mhm.
I just struggled in school. And then this song just kind of fell out of the sky one day, and songs still hit me that way. I just feel like I'm more of a medium for the song to come through than I am doing it of my own accord, if that makes any sense. That's probably really strange, but
Wow. No, you're talking like Larry Cordell now, man. He told me how he wrote Highway 40 Blues after being just so disgusted going to Nashville every weekend with
yeah,
another one of these people that we talked about, Mr. Ricky Skaggs. And they came home. He said a quick prayer in the driveway, went in, sat down at the kitchen table, started eating some food, and it came to him.
yeah,
So when we least expect it and when we feel like that it's just not going to get there, bam, it shows
yeah,
up, you know,
definitely.
it does. It's how
100%.
this
And those
music works.
songs. Mhm.
I mean, it's just odd. But so what do you think you're going to be doing in the future? I mean, you think you're going to do a little more bluegrass? You're going to go back into country music? Or I know a lot of people that go to bluegrass while they're in country just because they want to get back to their roots. I mean, look at the guys like Dirks Bentley and people like that, you know?
Yeah, I think it's something that I'll never leave behind. I definitely want to do more bluegrass, and now I really have a goal for the next record, and I'm still developing my sound all the time and how to progress all my records from the very first one to Real Me to Kentucky Blue to Kentucky Bluegrass. What comes next? Like, how do I take the pieces that I love most out of
Mhm.
all of those records and make this sound that is uniquely me and nobody else? And that's what I hope I get to do next. And I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but it's twirling around in my brain. And I think that Kentucky Bluegrass is going to have a big influence on the next country record that I make.
Well, this label, I love the name of your record label, Cut a Shine Records, man. Not unless you're from the country, you don't know what this means.
Yeah, most people don't. They're like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "It's like throwing a fit or pitching a fit." You hear old timers in the grocery store. If a kid starts squalling, you'll hear them say, "Lord, the youngin's cutting a shine."
Yeah, exactly. You know,
And
now we've really confused a lot of people that don't know what we're talking about here. I mean, I grew up and my grandmother would say, "Don't you pitch a fit when we go in here," you know. Yeah.
oh yeah, and
But
cut a shine. I just thought I'm gonna cut a shine until somebody listens,
see,
and I'm
there
like,
you
that
go.
that's the perfect name for my record label, and I haven't regretted it. I love that, and my logo is one of my goats.
I love that.
Picture of them screaming, cutting a shine.
I saw that. I was like, man, this is just cool all the way around, you know.
Thank
So
you.
is that your label?
That is my
Really?
record label. Uh-huh. And I came up with a logo. I had a girl design it for me. And then the first album I put out, I got a distributor through 1 RPM. And then on the
Mhm.
second record, 30 Tigers teamed up with me on these last two records. And man, they are just incredible. They are just the coolest company in Nashville. Like the most fair, artist friendly. Like everybody likes to tout that they're artist friendly, and then you start looking at their contracts. Like
And you're like, huh?
Tigers is awesome. They're just awesome. David Macias is just one of the coolest people that I've ever met. Like I'm so grateful
That's
to
all.
to partner with them and have my label next to the 30 Tigers emblem is just wild to me.
I'm as a person that does PR for a lot of artists similar to you and in this genre of music, I've heard 30 Tigers a whole lot. And so I think the ball's rolling for those guys, but they got to have good artists like you to, kind of showcase what they're doing.
Mhm.
So don't you think that's kind of I don't think that's a coincidence. I'll put it that way.
They're pretty great.
Yeah, they're good people. Um, well, I'll tell you what, I haven't heard one goat or one donkey
I'm
or
surprised.
what else did you say you had?
I have 5 pygmy goats,
Okay.
two, 2 miniature donkeys. I got a dog named Blue
Okay.
and a 3-legged cat.
Okay. We won't
Yep.
talk about the three-legged cat, but we will but we will talk. Do you ever have those little fainting goats? That's what I want personally. I'd like to have a little fainting goat that I could just scare all day and laugh at it falling over. Don't you think that'd
It's
be
so
fun?
sad though. They're narcoleptic.
So I just think that's hilarious to see
It
a
is
little
really
goat
funny.
fall over.
It's so funny and so sad.
At the same time. It's all of that mixed into one. That's for sure.
Now, if you try to scare one of mine, they'll just rear up at you and try to headbutt you.
See, that's the cool thing about this whole interview I've had with you. I remember all these things that you're saying. They're going to rear up and get you, or don't you cut a shine, or you know what I'm saying? You've taken me back to Tennessee where I was, where I was spent most of my life. So, but
Oh,
anyway,
that stuff
um,
never goes away. It
it
don't matter.
doesn't. It's life. It's what we do. Um, so what does the future look like for you? I mean, I see all this good, positive things coming from you. The music's good. You seem to understand, what you're doing and when you're doing it. But do you want to actually do another bluegrass record? I mean, I know I've asked you this just a few minutes ago, but I didn't get a real good answer from you. What are you thinking?
I definitely do want to do another bluegrass record. My next one, I want to do another country record for sure.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and blend kind of what I was talking about, like blending this Kentucky bluegrass with the prior 2 records
Mm-hmm.
and really just follow. I'm just trying to follow my gut intuition more these days.
Yeah.
And do what my heart is telling me to do and where I'm having the most fun and really try to stop because everybody thinks they know what you are to do all the time. They're
Exactly.
always
No.
telling you what to do because somehow they know better.
I
And
totally understand.
I'm just trying to have a fun. I've been in Nashville and I've done it the very not fun way
Mm-hmm.
for a really long time of just like listening to everybody else and assuming that they're just smarter than me,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of going against my core and trying to write pop country songs. I'm not a pop country artist. There's no sense in me trying to do that. I don't want to do that. It's not something that I have a lot of fun at, even when I'm trying to help other artists do it.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I'm just trying to follow my heart and we'll see where that takes us. And it's always going to be about the song for me. Whatever kind of record I make, I'm just going to put the best songs that I can on it. I've been writing in Nashville professionally with publishing deals since 2013. I've got a lot of songs to weed through, and I think that's what I'm most looking forward to is just getting to go back and find the songs that I want to record without somebody saying, "This is what you're gonna do."
See,
Whatever I do.
you're just a songwriter trapped in a musician's body. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
I'm a storyteller.
Yes, you are. Well, Britt, thanks for sitting down with me today. We really appreciate you. And where can they get this album right now?
You can listen to it anywhere you stream music, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, wherever, and it's exclusively on vinyl and CD through my website, brittaylormusic.com.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for sitting down with me. Go feed the goats and the donkey. And man, I still can't remember everything that you have, but go out there and enjoy yourself. And oh yeah, and don't forget the three-legged cat.
Loretta.
There you go. All right. It's been Rick Dollar here at the home of Brit Taylor, where all of the animals go to live.
Thank
See ya.
you so much for having me.
No problem.